I've got 5 children that age from 11 to our youngest, which are twins, and they're 3. So just with that, it's busy. Then my husband works full time. I work part time. Plus, I make cakes. Between looking after kids and everything else. My eldest son plays football 4 times a week, so there's not many days where we have days off where we just get to chill out and do nothing, because weekends are occupied by football, and obviously Monday to Friday it's school and work. So it's busy all the time, but I love it. Yeah, well, when it first came about, I was like, oh, it won't be as big as what they're claiming it'll be. I can remember when swine flu started, I'd not long had Ollie, and I worried quite a lot over nothing. So this time I thought there's no point worrying, because if it's going to happen, there's nothing I can do to stop it, and if it does happen, I'll just take each day as it comes and see what happens. But then the news started making me feel a bit more like it were getting a bit more serious, and then there were these talks about that schools are going to close and that shops are going to close. And I can remember I sent one of my friends a message on Facebook and said to her, because she's quite a level-headed person like I am, I thought I'll see what her opinion is on it, because you can just ask general people and people just worry, don't they, when they see stuff in news, it automatically makes them panic. So I asked her, and she said, you know what, mate, I'm not going to send my kids to school next week, because I think it's going to be as serious as what they're saying. And I then doubted myself whether I should send mine for the rest of that week. That was on the Tuesday evening, and I doubted whether I should send them on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But I thought I'll just see how it goes. If any germs are in school, then they're going to already have been in there. And then Friday came and they announced that they were closing schools, so it got took out of my hands anyway.
I mean, the $1,000,000 question, because your kids range from 3 to 11, don't they?
Yeah.
So what was it like homeschooling? Or did you even try?
Yeah, we did. I did with twins at first, and I was printing them off like colouring pages, because I know that it's important to get the pencil grip and stuff good. So I thought I'll just do little things with them. And school had sent the bigger ones like packs home for us to do at home. So we were working through them, so that every day they were doing a little bit of English and a little bit of maths. Once they'd answered a certain amount of questions or done a certain amount, then that was it. They didn't have to do any more. So it weren't anywhere near what they were doing at school, but for me it was about filling a little bit of time, which initially I thought that I would be able to do stuff while they were doing the schoolwork. That wasn't quite how it panned out. I ended up sitting with them, but then luckily Matt got furloughed as well, so it meant that we were both at home, so he could help out with the schoolwork, and he's a bit more fun than what I am. I'm a bit more like, come on, you need to get this done, whereas they'd all be laughing while he were doing it with him, so that made it better. It made it better for them, because they'd not got me on the case as much. They'd got him like making a joke out of all of it. They also did spellings. Ollie got sent home a spelling list, which was for year 5 and 6. So Demi and Ollie both did that. So Demi's obviously improved on her spellings quite a lot, because she's got that list a bit earlier than what the other kids would have done. But yeah, it were all right. And then Matt went back to work, and everything seemed to be like it were going back to normal, that all the shop stuff were reopening. Not all the like high street shops, but we were both back at work. And then we had an email off of school saying that we'd got to be sending a certain amount of schoolwork in each week. And I did feel pressured then, because that included the twins as well. And I didn't feel like what was coming through for twins was really age appropriate for them. And I did feel a bit that I would be letting them down, that I didn't know what I could do with them by twisting what the work was around so it met their needs. My Demi, our eldest daughter, she struggles a bit with change, so she was like, I don't want to do that. And I said to her, well, if you just do 2 or 3 of them throughout the week, and I've got some stuff that I can send in, then that's it. You would actually be doing less than what you were doing before. So she was probably the one that I struggled the most with, to get her to adapt to we were doing something different. And I spoke to one of my friends regarding twins, to see how I could adapt it and what I needed to do. And she reassured me and said that actually for their age, you only need to probably spend 5 or 10 minutes with them because their attention span's not long enough. So that chilled me out a little bit. And then, yeah, I was emailing the teachers 3 or 4 times a week with different work that they'd done. And if on the days when I was too busy, it was genuinely because I was too busy and not because we couldn't be bothered. And school understood that because obviously they know that we're a big family and that we both work and stuff. So it made me feel a little bit better about it.
I'm guessing the school know you guys quite well.
Yeah. I don't think there's many teachers at school that don't know who they are. There's not many parents that rock up with 5 kids. I think because my kids are the ages that they are, and they're all in primary school, I don't feel like it's had a massive detrimental effect on what they do or don't know. Luckily, they are all either average or above average kids. So I think if they were all already behind and I hadn't had the time or the knowledge to spend the same quality of time that they would have got at school, then I think it could have had a big impact. But personally, for my 5, no, it hasn't. And I do love them being at home, so I'm quite happy that I've had this extra time with them. The blokes who my husband works with, they were like, are you and Lou going to cope while you've got all kids at home? Matt were like, we've had 5 kids because we like them, not because we've like, oh shit, when it comes to like school holidays and stuff, I love them being at home. So for me, while they're at home, they're happy, they're safe. I know that they're not getting picked on. I know that not that they do get picked on, but I just know that they're in a safe environment where I can make the world as perfect as possible. Whereas when they're out of the house, things aren't in my control. And
but I mean, I've got to push you on this a little bit because you're sounding like Mary Poppins at the minute. Come on, in the height of lockdown, when you couldn't go out, we were only allowed out for 20 minutes, and you got 5 kids at home. Go on, dish the dirt, Louise.
I haven't really got any dirt to dish. I do like them being at home. The only thing that stressed me out throughout all of it was the food thing, that when you were going to supermarkets, that you couldn't buy the volume of food that we obviously eat. So just for an example on that, my boys are lactose intolerant. My middle boy won't drink lactose-free milk, so he has oat milk. My eldest son doesn't like lactose-free milk, so he has goat's milk. So on a weekly basis, we will have probably 12 to 15 cartons of milk. So because they're only 1 litre ones, so to be told that when I go shopping, I can only go out once a week to go food shopping, and that I can only buy 3 of any one thing when I go food shopping, it just didn't work for a family like mine. So that was the thing that worried me. And then there literally weren't any food in a lot of the supermarkets, were they? So none of the basic stuff, which for a family who spends £180 to £200 a week on food, I looked like I was panic buying, and I weren't. I was just doing my basic weekly shop.
Did you kind of want to put a sign around your neck saying?
Yeah, I considered getting a T-shirt printed that said, "I'm not panic buying. I've got a huge family."
I'm thirsty and hungry.
Yeah, mate. I've got a banana for you, but that's it. Sorry, where was I? Yeah, so other than that, that's the only thing that's really made me feel a bit physically sick, that's the only thing that I've not been able to do. Obviously, when shops reopened and this 2 metre thing came into effect, and then obviously now the masks, I did feel a little bit conscious because I was that person that when I got home, I cleaned all of my food shopping before I put it away. I made Matt strip off at door when he'd come in from work because he was obviously at work for the first 2 weeks. But I think the longer it's gone on, the more chilled out I've got about it. We still obviously do the 2 metre thing, and I wear a mask when I go into shops and stuff, but we do spend quite, like if we meet up with friends, we do tend to be outside anyway for a lot of it, and thankfully the weather's been mint. it's like somebody's like, oh, we're going to keep all these people in, so we'll make sunshine a bit more. It has been great. The weather's been spot on. We've done a lot of family walks. In the morning, me and Ollie, because obviously Ollie's quite active and he does football 4 times a week. We've been doing like a leg workout and he's been skipping, so I've been outside most mornings doing stuff like that with him, which I would have never have normally done, because it's normally Matt that does the football stuff and I stop at home and look after the rest of them.
One thing actually I wanted to just pick up on there was, I'm quite curious about how you dealt with it with the supermarkets when
I had to go out more than once a week, because I just couldn't. There was no other way that I could do it. Or when I went out, I would go to more than one supermarket. So I would get half of my food shop from Aldi, the other half I'd maybe pop to Morrison's or I'd pop to Tesco's, which I would normally do anyway, because I would go to Aldi to buy a certain amount of food, and then the branded stuff that's because of allergies and intolerances, I would have to go to Tesco anyway, because Aldi don't sell everything that I would normally buy. So, which it just took me longer, because obviously people were queuing. But I did find, because I would normally do my food shopping on a Monday, I did find that Mondays were really quiet. So to avoid the supermarkets Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, most people had done what they needed to do, and I was normally in time for deliveries as well. I never ran out of toilet roll.
And I'm guessing you get through a fair amount of it.
Yeah, I would, on a weekly basis, I would buy a 24 pack.
Could I get down there? No.
Why do you need to go down there?
Because I want to see what's there.
If you run down and come straight back, then yeah, but you can't stop down there on your own. I need you on there where I can see you, please.
So
Yeah, I've loved it. I'm so grateful that Ollie's not got to secondary school yet and he's wanting to be out all the time with his mates. He's quite happy if we stop at home or if we just do family stuff. So for me, it's been extra time that I've got to spend with my kids, and I've had the pressure of... yeah, monkey.
Mummy,
What, darling?
I want my ball.
Get it then. Yeah, so for me, it's been more that we've had the extra time together, and then I've had... Because normally the thing that would stress me out at the school holidays is what I feel like I'm expected to fit in for them. So I would normally have like a schedule of who we need to see and when we need to see them and where we could go that's not going to cost us an arm and a leg, because we're a big family. And then I'd pray that it was going to be sunny on them days, so that we didn't have to change our plans and do something that was going to cost me an arm and a leg. So for me, it's like we've had all this extra time, but the things that would normally make me think, oh God, it's going to be a nightmare, they've been took away, because I've not been allowed to take them out everywhere. I've not been allowed to spend money. We've actually saved money, because we've had no diesel, we've had no football, we've had no takeaways. So all of them extra things that are the luxuries, they've not been there for us. So it's made us appreciate them things a little bit more. But when we started to get back to being more normal, I did feel quite anxious, because it made me realise how much I used to pack into a week and how much I had actually been doing, and how much happier I felt and more content that life were a bit more basic. So it has made me reevaluate a few of the things that I do. So now I won't do as many cakes anymore. I have took on more hours at work, but they're hours that when the kids are at school, it has no impact on their life. Yeah, I think sometimes though, people just want you as a parent, and you just feel like you should do all these things with your kids. But none of mine have missed any of it, to be fair. Even Ollie's he's missed seeing his mates, but he's not missed that he's not missed out on going to football 4 times a week. And like I say, I don't know, I think sometimes you just think life's going to be all this, that and the other, and you just want to try and squeeze in as much in as you can, because that's what the expectation is, isn't it? But just basics, great.
Louise, how do you feel about the prospects of the kids going back to school in September? Does that worry you?
It don't worry me at all. My kids, thankfully, are all very healthy. They've got no underlying conditions. So for me, with all of the measures that are going to be in place, and I feel okay about it. Again, I'm in a fortunate position that if one of my kids were poorly, I can go to work when Matt gets in from work. I've not got no strict time frame that I've got to do my job in. So whatever happens, I know that we'll still manage to make it work. Yeah, the only thing that it's something that I've read on Facebook is about the new laws and guidelines what school will have over our children, which I want to read up about that a little bit more, just so that I feel comfortable with what they can and can't do with my kids. But I don't know. I think some things you read on Facebook, it's all a bit of hearsay, isn't it? So you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm quite happy. They're looking forward to going back as well. Louis come out with, he's missed school quite a lot because he's a really sociable little lad. He's missed his friends massively. And he said, Mummy, I've told my brain that when I go back to school, I'm going to try my very best. So for him, it has had a good impact because it's just boisterous. He's a proper little lad who loves to be out and playing with his mates. But he is also a bit mischievous. So for him to be missing school that much that he's already thinking about how much better he's going to make it, then I think it'll have had a good impact on them.